I am telling you, your 20s are silently destroying your financial future, and just get ready for reality, because you will be 30 years old soon.
Listen up, your 20s, they're basically a financial trap waiting to happen. You're watching everyone around you buying fancy cars on loans they shouldn't have taken, drowning in student debt for degrees that land them minimum wage jobs, and somehow thinking that $12 brunch is a solid life choice. And there you are, probably questioning if you should be handling your money differently, or if you're headed straight toward becoming one of those people who cry about being broke while ordering takeout every single night. Here's the truth that's going to hit you hard. The money moves you make right now, in your 20s, they're going to decide if you spend your 30s actually building real wealth, or if you're still stuck in that soul-crushing paycheck-to-paycheck cycle like you're trapped in some kind of financial nightmare on repeat. Most people get this completely wrong. They think their 20s are for blowing cash on fun stuff and experiences, and then they'll somehow magically get serious about money in their 30s. That's like thinking you can start preparing for a marathon the morning of the race. Absolutely ridiculous. My name is John, and I've dedicated way too many hours studying why some people break free from the financial struggle while others stay trapped their entire lives.
If you're sick and tired of seeing that same disappointing number in your bank account month after month, do me a favor right now. Smash that subscribe button and hit that like button. And hey, drop a comment below and tell me where in the world you're watching this from. I want to know if you're in New York, London, Tokyo, or anywhere in between. Let's build a global community of people who are done making dumb money mistakes. Today, we're diving deep into the 7 purchases that can literally flip your entire financial future upside down, in the best way possible. Now, before we get into these 7 game-changing purchases, let me make something crystal clear. I'm not some financial advisor, and this definitely isn't official financial advice. These are the lessons I've picked up from watching real people win and lose with money, including my own journey of making brilliant moves and absolutely terrible ones. What I'm laying out for you today are the purchases that keep showing up in the lives of people who reach financial freedom while they're still young enough to actually enjoy it. The harsh reality? Most people approach their 20s completely backwards. They believe this is the time to party hard, spend every penny they make, and deal with money problems later. But the people who truly understand compound interest, they know that your 20s are actually when small, intelligent decisions create absolutely massive results down the line. $100 invested wisely at 25 turns into thousands by 50.
$100 wasted on something that loses value. It becomes nothing except a blurry memory and possibly some lingering debt. So let's jump into purchase number 1. This might catch you off guard because it's not something you buy once and forget about. It's investing money in a side hustle. I already know what you're thinking. John, a side hustle isn't really a purchase, is it? But stick with me here because this is where most people mess it up completely. They assume side hustles are totally free, but the really successful ones need some money invested upfront to launch properly. Whether it's grabbing equipment for a photography business, paying for a website domain and hosting, buying tools for a service you want to offer, or even purchasing books and courses to master a valuable skill, starting a side hustle almost always means putting some cash down first. And in your 20s, this could genuinely be the absolute best investment you'll ever make because it has the power to completely transform your financial path faster than anything else on earth. The amazing thing about side hustles in your 20s is that you probably don't have a mortgage hanging over your head, kids to feed, or a ton of other financial commitments dragging you down. You can take real risks and experiment with things that might fail. If you crash and burn, you can recover quickly. But if you succeed, you might never have to stress about money ever again. Here's what most people completely miss about side hustles though. They try launching something totally outside their natural abilities instead of building on what they're already good at. If you're naturally talented with cars, start right there. If you get websites and technology, create something in that world. If you can snap decent photos, look into photography services. The goal isn't to chase whatever looks most profitable on the internet. The goal is finding something that fits your skills and interests, then investing whatever it takes to do it right. The second purchase that can completely change your life is putting money into index funds, specifically through something like a Roth IRA or similar tax-advantaged account. This is where the real magic of compound interest shows its incredible power. In your 20s, That's when you have the ultimate unfair advantage, time itself. Let me hit you with some numbers that might absolutely blow your mind. If you invest just $200 every single month into an S&P 500 index fund starting at age 22, and that investment grows at the historical average of roughly 10% each year, you'll have over $1 million by the time you hit 67. $200 a month for 45 years equals $1 million. That's less than $7 a day, creating millionaire status. But here's where it gets really intense. If you wait until you're 32 to start that exact same investment plan, you'll end up with about $700,000 instead of $1 million. Waiting just 10 years costs you $300,000 in the long run. This is exactly why your 20s are so crucial for building wealth. The beautiful thing about index funds is they're basically the reliable, steady friend of the investing world. They don't promise to make you rich overnight, and they won't give you wild stories to share at parties, but they consistently beat most actively managed funds. They charge low fees, and they spread your risk across hundreds of different companies instead of gambling everything on individual stocks. And if you do this through a Roth IRA, your profits grow completely tax-free. Every single dollar of growth stays in your pocket instead of going to the government. It's like having a backup plan quietly running in the background while you focus on everything else. The secret is automating these contributions so the money gets invested before you even notice it in your checking account. If you never see it, you won't spend it. Simple as that. Purchase number 3 is something that might sound frivolous at first, but can actually be one of the smartest investments you'll ever make. Buy a plane ticket. Travel while you're young, but do it strategically. This isn't about draining your savings on expensive vacations just to look impressive on social media. This is about investing in experiences and connections that can shift your entire perspective and crack open doors you didn't even know were there. Traveling in your 20s builds confidence in ways that absolutely nothing else can. When you figure out how to navigate a strange city, communicate despite not speaking the language, and solve problems in completely unfamiliar situations, you develop a kind of self-reliance that serves you for your entire life. You also meet people from wildly different backgrounds and industries who might become incredibly valuable connections years later. The smart way to do this is by maximizing credit card points and rewards programs. Get yourself a travel rewards credit card, use it for your regular expenses, and pay it off completely every single month. Never ever carry a balance, but collect those points and use them for free or heavily discounted travel. This strategy also helps you build a strong credit score, which becomes incredibly valuable when you're ready to buy a house or invest in real estate. The fourth life-changing purchase is education, but not the kind that buries you $100,000 in debt. I'm talking about books, online courses, workshops, and any other learning that increases your skills and value in the job market. This is honestly one of the most powerful investments you can possibly make because the knowledge you gain compounds for decades. A $20 book can completely change your entire mindset about money and success. A few $100s spent on a legitimate course can teach you skills that boost your income by thousands. The important word here is legitimate. Stay far away from those $1,000 courses from people posing next to rented luxury cars. Instead, focus on learning from people who have actually built successful businesses or careers in areas that interest you. Your brain is at its most adaptable in your 20s, which means you can pick up new skills faster than you'll ever be able to again. Take advantage of that window. Whether it's learning to code, understanding digital marketing, developing sales abilities, or mastering a skilled trade, every skill you pick up becomes part of your toolkit for the rest of your life. Purchase number 5 is the big scary one that terrifies most people in their 20s but can absolutely transform your financial future. Buy real estate. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. John, I can barely afford instant noodles, let alone an actual house. But hear me out, because there are creative strategies to make this work even if you're not swimming in cash. Real estate accelerates wealth building through 3 main ways. First, properties generally go up in value over time. Second, if you rent part of the property out, you get income that can help cover the mortgage. Third, you're using leverage, meaning you control a valuable asset with a relatively small down payment, and other people are basically paying for your investment through their rent. If affordability is a problem, consider house hacking. Buy a duplex and live in one unit while renting out the other, or buy a single-family home and rent out rooms to roommates. You could even look into short-term rentals through platforms like Airbnb if your local market allows it. The goal is letting other people pay your mortgage while you build equity and benefit from the property going up in value. It's not always easy, and it definitely requires more hands-on work than index fund investing, but the wealth-building potential is absolutely enormous. The sixth purchase might sound boring as hell, but it's actually one of the most important financial decisions you'll make in your 20s. Buy cheap, reliable transportation. Notice I didn't say buy a car, I said buy transportation. There's a massive difference here, and understanding this difference could literally save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Most people in their 20s think they need a nice car to appear successful. They finance $30,000 vehicles they absolutely cannot afford, making payments that devour a huge chunk of their income for 6 or 7 years. Meanwhile, that exact same money could be growing in investments, compounding into serious wealth by the time they hit 40. Here's the brutal, honest truth about cars. They are not investments. They're depreciating liabilities that cost you money every single month. The second you drive a brand new car off the dealer's lot, it loses thousands of dollars in value. It's basically like setting money on fire, except less entertaining, and you still have to make payments. Instead, buy a 3 to 5-year-old Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, or something similarly reliable for $10,000 to $15,000. Pay cash if you possibly can, or finance it for the shortest term you can manage. These cars will run for 200,000 miles if you maintain them properly, and they're cheap to insure and fix. The money you save by not having a car payment can be invested instead. Let's say you avoid a $500 monthly car payment and invest that money at 8% returns. After 30 years, you'll have over $600,000. That's the real cost of having a car payment in your 20s. Not just the money you're paying out, but the money you didn't invest. Plus, when you're not stressed about making car payments, you have way more freedom to take risks with your career. You can leave a job you absolutely hate, start that business you've been dreaming about, or take a position with huge growth potential but lower starting pay. Financial freedom starts with eliminating unnecessary monthly payments, and car payments are usually the biggest unnecessary expense people have. The seventh and final purchase that can change your life is investing in your health. This one gets completely overlooked because the benefits aren't immediately obvious, and the cost of ignoring it doesn't show up right away. But your health determines absolutely everything else. How hard you can work, how long you can chase your goals, how much energy you have for your side hustle, and whether you'll actually be around to enjoy the wealth you're building. I'm not talking about spending thousands on expensive gym memberships or hearing personal trainers, although those might be worth it if you'll actually use them. I'm talking about the basics that most people in their 20s completely ignore because they think they're invincible. Good food instead of surviving off energy drinks and fast food. Regular sleep instead of pulling all-nighters every single week. Some form of exercise that doesn't just involve walking from your couch to the refrigerator. Your 20s are when you establish the habits that will either support your goals or sabotage them for the next several decades. If you're constantly exhausted, stressed out, or dealing with health problems that could have been prevented, it doesn't matter how brilliant your investment strategy is, you won't have the energy or focus to execute it properly. The hidden cost of poor health in your 20s isn't just medical bills, although those can definitely pile up fast. It's the opportunity cost of not being able to work at full capacity, not being able to jump on opportunities when they show up, and potentially having to spend your later years dealing with preventable health issues instead of enjoying your wealth. Plus, let's be real about something. Building wealth requires sustained effort over many years. Whether it's managing a side hustle, staying disciplined with your investments, or dealing with the challenges of being a landlord, you need physical and mental energy to make it all work. If you're running on empty because you've been treating your body like a trash can, you're sabotaging your own success. The smart approach is thinking of health investments as performance boosters for everything else you're trying to accomplish. Better sleep means better decision-making. Better nutrition means more consistent energy levels. Regular exercise means better stress management and mental clarity. These aren't luxuries or nice-to-haves. They're fundamental requirements for building the kind of life you actually want. Now, here's what ties all 7 of these purchases together. They're all about playing the long game instead of chasing short-term pleasure. Every single one requires you to think differently than most people your age. While everyone else is focused on looking successful right now, you're focused on actually becoming successful over time. This is where the compound interest concept applies to way more than just money. Every good decision you make in your 20s compounds into better outcomes later. Every side hustle skill you develop makes you more valuable in the marketplace. Every dollar you invest grows exponentially over decades. Every relationship you build through travel or education can open doors years down the road. Every month you avoid car payments frees up money for wealth-building activities. But the opposite is also true. Bad financial decisions compound negatively too. Credit card debt compounds against you. Car payments prevent you from investing. Neglecting your health creates problems that get more expensive to fix over time. This is exactly why your 20s matter so incredibly much. You're not just making decisions about today, you're making decisions about the trajectory of your entire life. The mistake most people make is thinking these 7 purchases are separate decisions when they're actually all connected. Your side hustle success depends on your health and energy levels. Your ability to invest in index funds depends on not having massive car payments eating up your income. Your travel experiences can lead to business connections that accelerate your side hustle. Your real estate investments can provide the passive income that gives you freedom to take bigger risks with your business ventures. This interconnected approach is what separates people who build serious wealth from those who just stumble from one financial decision to the next without any coherent plan. When you understand how these purchases work together, you start making decisions that reinforce each other instead of competing for your limited resources. But here's where most people completely screw this up, and it's not what you'd expect. They try doing everything at once. They want to start 3 different side hustles, max out their retirement contributions, book trips to 5 countries, buy a house, and completely overhaul their diet all in the same month. Then they get completely overwhelmed, abandon everything, and go back to buying stuff that makes them feel successful for about 5 minutes. The smart approach is prioritizing these purchases based on your current situation and building momentum gradually. If you're drowning in credit card debt, focus on the side hustle first to generate extra income. If you're already earning decent money but spending all of it, start with automating your index fund investments and buying reliable transportation instead of financing something flashy. If you're stable financially but stuck in your comfort zone, invest in education and travel to expand your perspective and opportunities. The psychological aspect of this is absolutely crucial and something most financial advice completely ignores. Making smart purchases in your 20s requires you to be comfortable being different from your friend group. While your friends are financing new cars and spending everything they earn on experiences designed for Instagram, you're buying boring index funds and driving a 5-year-old Toyota. While they're complaining about being broke, you're quietly building a foundation that will support you for decades. This is where the real test comes in. Can you handle your friends thinking you're cheap or boring? Can you resist the urge to upgrade your lifestyle every time you get a raise? Can you stick with your investment plan when the market crashes and everyone around you is panicking? These aren't just financial decisions. They're character-building exercises that determine what kind of person you become. Here's something nobody talks about when it comes to wealth building in your 20s. The habits you develop right now will determine how you handle money for the rest of your life. If you learn to live below your means, automate your investments, and resist lifestyle inflation in your 20s, you'll naturally keep doing those things as your income increases. But if you develop a pattern of spending everything you earn and justifying purchases based on emotions instead of logic, that pattern becomes incredibly difficult to break later on. The people who build wealth aren't necessarily smarter or more disciplined than everyone else. They just developed better money habits earlier in life and let compound interest do the heavy lifting. The people who struggle financially often make the same fundamental mistakes over and over again because they never learn to think long-term about their financial decisions. Look, your 20s are going to pass by whether you make smart financial decisions or not. The only question is whether you'll look back at 30 wondering where all your money disappeared to, or you'll be sitting on a foundation that gives you actual choices about how to spend your life. These 7 purchases aren't just about building wealth. They're about building the kind of person who understands that real success isn't about impressing strangers with stuff you can't afford. It's about having the freedom to wake up every morning and decide what you want to do with your day instead of what you have to do to pay bills. Start with one of these purchases today because 10 years from now you'll either thank yourself or wish you had.